It's me. This is the review for the no-win scenario. I'm going to do a separate one for 2 episodes of Quantum because I'm behind. But okay, I loved this episode. It felt very much like old Star Trek in some ways and new Star Trek in other ways. One of the things that I really love that Star Trek does is that, like, both heavy-handedly and nonchalantly, it likes synchronicity. So it likes the concept of, no-win scenario, this is called. So, first of all, we know that we're going into the gravity well, and that's a no-win scenario, as it is. But the fact that, like, there's multiple no-win scenarios in this is fantastic. I'll dig into that in a minute. So I'll start, again, sticky. I have a sticky for this, but now for the Quantum episodes, I'm just going to go off memory, because I had certain sticking points that were bothering my brain. But, we'll get there. So, I love how Picard is in, like, 10 forward or whatever, and he's like, I don't like to tell stories, but we know you like to shut up. We know you like to tell stories. Stop that. Don't pretend. We know you. Stop that. So it's cute how he's, like, telling stories to the cadets, or to the new whatever. So I liked that. Ultimately, I have that later on, but I'm going to mention it now. Ultimately, I watched this twice. The first time for enjoyment and second time for notes. As we've been doing with all the Picard episodes, because they're so great. So he tells us stories, and he had told that story about him and the original Jack Crusher, who I have in my brain next. Jack Crusher inching forward 10 fucking miles. First of all, I don't know why I enjoy Picard cursing, but I enjoy Picard cursing. You know what I mean? Like, because he doesn't do it that often, but when he does do it, you could tell he, like, means it. And he, it seemed like he found the word delicious. Like, 10 fucking, you know what I mean? Like, when he said that, I watched his facial expressions for that, and I enjoyed it. And then you watch the moment where Jack is like, where Picard's like, did your mom tell you that story? And he's like, actually... And we kind of find out at the end of the episode, Jack had already heard the story because of what was going on. Jack, having met Picard and asked the question completely out of context, was a no-win scenario. Like, there was nothing because Picard's in front of all of the cadets and stuff like that, didn't know he had a family, was trying, and like, he thought that this kid was just trying to, like, poke at him that he never had a wife and kids and stuff like that. So he just says, the military thing that you say, this is my family, Starfleet's my family. So Jack kind of put him in a no-win scenario, whether he realized it or not. And that's fucked. My power is out. We are running on a generator right now, and the electric company is telling me that 1 a.m. is going to be when it's back up and running, so I guess that I'm probably not going to sleep that well tonight. Fantastic. Anyway. So I thought that was cool, too. Next, I always love Riker, and of course, he, directed this episode and stuff like that, and I just love him so much. His little crisis of faith, and, like, there's nothing else after, and, like, it's weird, because, we've had this discussion about how you're an atheist, and I'm more agnostic in general, and, how he's like, we've done all this stuff and there's never anything, and 6 feet seems so dark. Now, we think of this, however we think of it, but, like, I imagine that, that specific mentality, like, there's no way to step out of the darkness for that. Him, going back and forth with, like, him having that little discussion with Picard about everything going on and stuff like that, and him then calling Deanna at the end was lovely. He said something beautiful. She's like, that's the most beautiful thing you've said in a while. And he's like, I know, and I'll be better, and I'll do better, and stuff like that. And, I love them together so much, and I'm just like, Deanna, take him back! Take him back! He just hurting, baby! He just hurting! So yeah, it was nice. And what I thought was an interesting tidbit at the end was, like, she's like, are you okay? it was a good answer, because, you know, they even mentioned, we're going to talk about Deanna again with what's going on with, I keep wanting to call her Gemma McFadden, because I know Gemma McFadden, with Beverly, but we'll mention that in a minute. You know, they were like, she feels everything. And she asked Will, like, are you guys okay? Knowing that she'd be able to tell empathically if he really is or not. And the fact that he's like, I don't know, actually says a lot about how he knows how to handle her. Because he genuinely is like, if I try the I don't know thing, then she can't tell if it's horrible or not. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I like that a lot. Beverly catching on with the contractions was great. Candidly, after the second time of her counting down, that was rough. I was counting down for contractions too, and I don't know if it's because of the mother thing or whatever, but I definitely had like the contractions vibe going as well. Why did I catch on? Beverly catch on first, and then I caught on, and then the rest of Star Trek caught on. Thought that was funny. Riker's voice changing when he's trying to leave Deanna the message. And he's like, in case, you know, I like how he starts, in case, you know, someone ever finds this recording. And then he's like, Deanna, I want you to know. Like, loved, like, the voice change that he did that. You know what I mean? Because Riker's just, love Riker. I had the same question about the holodeck. When the holodeck showed up, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, so we're all about to die, and we are 3 seconds from stopping life support systems, but let's keep the holodeck up. And it was nice how they kind of explained the whole thing with the holodeck, that it's like, it runs on its own thing in case people need comfort. Like, oh, that's a nice little thing that you called out, because, you know, we always asked that question in the past, like, how come the fucking holodeck keeps going, even though all that other shit is, like, you know, chaos. I liked that. There's a word I love, and I love how Jack and Picard both do it. Obfuscation. You know, when Picard goes to sit with Jack, and, like, Jack's like, you know, let's talk about the purple elephant in the corner. What's gonna happen with the hair? Like, I giggled, because I was totally like, obfuscation, man, you're fan. And then, like, the stories they were telling each other, were fantastic. Like, I just like the obfuscation of it, where it's like, you know, we can't say the hard thing, so let's either say the funny thing or the roundabout thing. So I liked the obfuscation of that. In the entire episode, and I know we're supposed to, like, I don't know why I like an anti-hero as much as I like one, but Shaw is, like, the mofo in this episode. I feel like every single episode with Shaw, I go up and down with, like, do I hate him? Do I like him? Do I hate him? Do I like him? Do I hate him? Do I like him? Where he is telling the story about what happened with the Borg. Oh, like, beautiful. And then we're going to get back to the Borg thing as well. And then he is, you know, then he finally tells Hansen what's going on and stuff like that. And then, like, his explanation, I actually want him to, like, you know, brand new Star Trek people who have never seen anything like that, like, I like that we figured out what changelings were, and for you know, Star Trek diehard fans who know the whole story of, you know, the Dominion War and stuff like that, he had a changeling for dummies blurb, like, beautifully done. And then, you know, he had to be dickish with it, where he's like, you know, if I told you you're gonna be a great captain someday, is something I'd say. You're like, you almost had me for a second there. And then, you know, him having, you know, the dipshit thing turn around. So then Picard going in to, like, get his help, and then being like, I need your help, even though you are a dipshit from Chicago. And then Stoneface. And then the dude being like, nice. You know what I mean? Like, Shaw, I don't know why. I just like him so much in this, because I hate him, and then like him, and then hate him, and then like him, back and forth. I like the Grease Monkey thing. I thought that was great. I absolutely enjoyed that part right there. The next thing I have with this, the Vadic cutting off her hand for a conference call is fucked. Rob was just up here, so I'm like trying to see if he had left. Vadic cutting off her hand for a conference call. Imagine every time you need to make a fucking conference call to, like, your boss, you gotta cut off your hand in order to fucking do it. Like, that's fucked. You know what I mean? Like, is she also a changeling? Is she, like, what the fuck is she that she gotta cut off her hand for a conference call? Like, that shit is fucked. Delightfully fucked, but fucked nonetheless. Oh, I wanted to ask you, wasn't there a setting on the, like, maybe they got to it eventually, but, like, what, like, isn't there a setting on the guns for, like, changelings that is, like, let me blast you so you don't, like, morph or something? I feel like at the end, 7 eventually got there, but, like, it was weird. I don't know. I could have sworn there was a setting. Oh, I wrote Picard cursing and then flat face. So, Picard cursing, like I already mentioned that earlier with the, you know, fucking, I loved that. And then, you know, we've been talking so much about Picard's face work. His face work in this was even better because he had, like, when he's like, you are a dipshit from Chicago, and then they take a beat and he just stares at him like, I enjoyed that. And then, you know, his face work as well, going ahead and, I like to think he came to the realization, that the story he had told him that it had been Jack in 10 Forward, he had told the story to, like, you know, when he thought of that moment and he's like, oh shit, Jack, that's how I know Jack. I like to think that it dawned on him that, holy shit, this is what happened. Wolf 359. Every time, you know, there are things that I forget about the show that, like, all of a sudden they remind me of, and I was like, oh, I'm like taking, and then mind you, again, like I said, this was 6 months ago, and I'm still like, fuck. The Locutus thing, like, calling out all the stuff that happened with the Borg, and then picking, like, you know, pick 10 people, you, and you. Shaw's acting in that scene was phenomenal, and, you know, the PTSD, the Survivor's Guilt and PTSD that come with all of that, like, it's giving us layers for him, which I love. I love me a complex hero. Just brilliantly done. But every time I forget a little bit about Locutus, he shows up, and, like, it explains a lot with the Borg thing with Hansen, and, you know, losing a family of Jack Crushers is just devastating. So I wrote, you have the con. We're used to seeing, like, you know, Picard have the con, but it never ceases. Then every season, when Picard has the con, that I squeal. Never ceases. You know, so when they're like, you have the con, I was like, yay, it's exciting! So I love that part. Like I said, the contractions thing, so Beverly coming up, Beverly being the fucking smartest one in the room right now, like, thank you, it's about fucking time we treat the Doctor with some reverence, some intelligence. I did like the synchronicity of Jack Crusher and Picard inching along, navigating aft thrusters, together, part 2, like, that's, like, it's nice, it's how they rewrote their history and stuff like that together, so I thought that was nice. I realized that I have never heard the life support klaxons before. Klaxons, whatever. I call them klaxons because I don't know what else to call the sounds. But I call them klaxons because I guess it's what we call the Doctor Who. Bells, tolls, klaxons, whatever. We never heard the life support ones before. And I was like, why is this joyfully ominous the way that it is? And I think in my head at first, I was kind of, like, debating, like, are they immediately all going to start to suffocate? Or do they just have time with the residual air and heat that is in the place? And if so, you better move it, Buster, because there'd be a lot of people on this thing. So, I was imagining there was more going to be a sense of, like, but I guess they just didn't have that. Oh my god. Did you just throw an asteroid at her? You goddamn right I did. Like, a few episodes ago, she threw a fucking ship at us, so we're gonna throw a fucking asteroid at her, so fuck her. Definitely, Riker, love him so much. But he was great. And then Space Jellyfish, I feel like I watched this the second time, and I was like, why do these Space Jellyfish seem, like, somewhat familiar? I feel like we've seen them before, but I'm not entirely sure. It could be any number of things. But anyway, I liked the moment of awe that they all had to seek new life. And then, you know, immediately Ricker's like, let's boldly get the hell out of here. Yeah, I mean, so agree, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I always love a nod back to the old age, but let's get the hell out of Dodge, because this shit been fucking us up for like 3 episodes. So let's keep it moving here, folks. So I like that a lot. So we're in a no-win situation. So again, no-win situation. Jack's problem with the red door, like, what does that find me? Like, ominous as fuck that is. But I do love a weird mystery like that. Like I said, I go back to the Amy Pond with the... What was that lady's name? I really can never remember, and I always want to reference her. The lady with the eye patch, who had, like, the machine in her eye patch and stuff, to be able to see the silence. What the fuck was her name? Anyway, love an ongoing, like, some crazy shit, and then watching a little red octopus in the background was nice. Really good episode. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was well done. It reminded me of old Star Trek. You know what I mean? Like, the fight did, the creativity did, the coming together with different groups did. I just loved it. So anyway, let me know what you think. All right, bye.